I watched those fights last night as well. I fell asleep and had to catch the recap this morning because East Coast, man, the main card. Dude, you know what I do like about it, though? Those things move. Those fights move, bro. They were crazy. Yeah. They were crazy fights in Philly last night. Crazy fight.
Well, there was a crazy crowd there as well, to be fair. I think it was 19,000 people is what they said.
It was packed. That was legit sold out. Legit sold out.
And as you say, crazy action, crazy pace of fights, you know, because I wanted to watch, obviously, we spoke to Eddie recently. The man's a legend. I wanted to watch his. So I called the kids down, and Callum and Lucas. I'm like, sit down and watch. And Callum looks online. He's like, Dad, there's 17 fights.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think we'll go through them pretty quick. And that was what we saw. Just fight after fight, knockout.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
I can't believe some of these shots that guys got hit with last night. Because I've watched some bare knuckle, and you know it's got its place. It's not my favorite combat sport. Obviously, MMA is hands down, but I'm starting to like it more than watching boxing because it moves a lot quicker. It's violent. It's similar to MMA in the clinch that you can grab the head, that you can uppercut. They let you play there a little longer. Mm-hmm. That one kid got DQ'd. I don't know if you saw that one for like headbutting and throwing shots after the ref broke him up. It was wild. No. It was early in the night.
I'll tell you what, Ben Rothwell destroyed his opponent. Did you see that one shot?
Yeah. Good for him, man. I do love seeing some of these guys that, you know, MMA, maybe it was getting away from them a little bit. They weren't having the success that they did earlier in their careers. And then they find that, you know, they find another sport and become champion, making good money still. And he basically got out of there with unscathed, right? I mean, knocked that guy out pretty quick. Brutal too. Yeah. There was other ones, brutal shots.
Measured with the left hand and boom, pretty much the first right hand that he threw. Put him out like a light. He's now the champ. Mark Hunt calling him out. So we might see that one in the future.
I'd love to see that.
But the main event, Eddie Alvarez, Jeremy Stephens, I thought, obviously we had Eddie on just recently. What a guy, just an awesome human being, great fighter, legendary career, looked good to start, going to the body, nice jabs, really nice boxing technique. But of course, it only takes one good shot. And it was a right hand as they were separating a clinch from Jeremy Stephens, dropped him in round 2. Seemed to have his faculties about him. He stood up, he turned away, he took a mandatory 8 count. And then in round 3, when he got dropped, and I hesitate to say this, but he didn't want to, I think he said, they said, "Are you good?" And I think he mouthed, "I don't know." And then the round end, and he went back to his corner. And then whilst the camera was showing like the crowd and all the rest of it, then you heard in the background, the fight was off. So he obviously said something to his cornerman. And you know what? Respect to Eddie for having the balls to do that, because, and I'll let you jump in a second, you know, he's been the UFC champion. He's had a legendary career. He's 41 years old. As he alluded to us, he's getting paid very handsomely for this. You know, when you know you're beaten, you're damaged, you're discombobulated, you're dazed, all the rest of it, could he have come back and won? Yeah, maybe. Could he have gone out there, got knocked out unconscious, suffered a severe concussion, taken potentially years off his life? Yes, as well. And he was like, you know what? He's proud enough to say it's not about being a pussy. He stepped in there and he fought well. He said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. And I think that takes a certain level of just self-realization, but also just you know, a certain amount of, this is a weird one, bravery to say, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm done.
Yeah, especially at home. Especially Wells Fargo in Philly, the events around you, right? That's tough. But I think for Eddie, he's had a lot of eye trouble. He's had a lot of orbital issues in the past and broken bones in his face. And it looked like that was happening again. And I know with Mark Henry and the guys in his corner who are also well aware of all that, it happened in the Mike Perry fight where things puffed up and you couldn't see. And I think it was trending towards that if he ate another few shots. And the way Jeremy Stephens punches, you're not getting out of there without more damage, especially with what, two more rounds to go, or no, one more round to go. It was two. It was going into the 4th, correct?
Yeah.
And I agree that if it's not going to get much better and you're risking never being able to fight again or having permanent damage done to yourself, especially after the career that he's already had and the damage that he's taken in several fights already, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got to say something instead of going out there and just. But there was a lot of people that got absolutely iced in that event. Did you see the kid from South Philly that came out with all the Irish garb and all that kind of stuff and got laid the out.
Yeah. I think I saw this is the guy who was on the weigh-ins. I don't know if you saw him there, and he was like, right, he was going crazy. So now all the memes are going around that he used all of his energy on the
oh my God, dude. It's one of the worst I've seen.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh yeah. He's toast. He's done. But of course, Jeremy Stephens, fair play to the guy. Happy for him as well. Beautiful, well, a good stoppage, great boxing. And he proved, I'm the hardest hitting 145. Who's the guy that knocks people out? Right here. Because this one was doing the rounds. Who the fuck is that guy? Now, listen. I was playing it yesterday. It came up on my social media feed. That was a killer one by Conor McGregor. It really was. But of course, Jeremy Stephens, as we know, is the hardest hitting 145er out there. Who's the guy that puts everyone to sleep? Oh. And there he is.
Man.
I mean, great shot. He did it. He got the job done. He knocked him out. And of course, now, who the fuck is that guy? He might be fighting Conor McGregor in bare knuckle. Of course, McGregor stepped into the ring and had a square up. I think we've got a little video of this one. Here he is here. McGregor steps in.
Who the fuck is this? Yeah, let's make a date. Let's set a date. Who's going to stop me man to man? No one's going to stop me. David, make the date. Let's do it. One down for the pro, yeah? One down for the pro. Let's go. Let's fucking do it. Hey, bleed, baby.
So, ladies and there's a lot to unpack there, if you will. Of course, he's under contract with the UFC, but I'll say this, right? And, I've gone back and forth with McGregor over the years, as you have. So this is far from me being a McGregor nut hugger. If there's one person that knows how to keep himself relevant in the fight world without actually fighting, it's Conor McGregor. He's linked up to fighting everyone left, right, and center. And if you want to talk about promoting bare knuckle, that's a stroke of genius, because today, tomorrow, all the headlines are going to be Conor McGregor versus Jeremy Stephens. Is it going to happen in bare knuckle? Now, the fight's never going to happen. That would be my guess. But the sideline of it all is that amongst all those headlines, bare knuckle FC is being promoted and talked about the entire time.
100%. 100%. And that, I think that even if Conor never fights anywhere ever again, I do think he's got a future doing this stuff as a promoter. I mean, he's got crazy energy, like you talked about. He's insanely popular. No matter what he does, we want to, people are tuning in, whether it's bad news, good news, fight news, outside of the fight news. If he's on a bus with Jake and Logan Paul, it doesn't matter. People are tuning in to find out what he's up to and what's going on. And he's invested into that company, and he is definitely pushing it. Now, he's just got to watch legal action at this point, right? Because he's talking about fights and announcing things whilst under contract with the biggest fight organization in the world, in the UFC. And that might get him in trouble. And that is what was funny, because David Feldman, who I've known for a long time, I fought on his shows in Philly.
Oh, really?
When he was doing like local regional MMA, man. So the fact that he has gotten to this point is crazy to see. He's got a crazy story too, David Feldman, and his background and all that. But he was just a local MMA promoter, and then he started getting into this bare knuckle stuff. And it seemed like a sideshow thing at first, but now they're getting legit names into the sport. They got Conor invested into this stuff. So it's pretty awesome to see that Dave Feldman, who was running MMA shows in Philly, is now running this massive bare. And I'll tell you, I watched the production stuff. They definitely had a lot of mess ups on the actual film, television stuff, like graphics were going out.
San Diego. That's where Jeremy Stephens fights off. San Diego.
San Diego, yeah. So it like
a whale's vagina.
but it's entertaining. I mean, I can see this sport sticking around for a while, especially with the people they've got involved in it and the names of the fighters they've got. I think he should just stick to doing that and forget about fighting, man. At this point, it's pretty obvious that he's not committed to doing that. He's committed. He's committed to everybody all over. He wants these things, but you're not actually getting in there. So just promote this shit, push this shit, and make your money.
Well, David Feldman at the post-fight press conference actually made what appeared to be kind of like an official announcement. He said that Conor
very nervously.
Roll the tape on that one, please, Brian, because as you said, kind of nervously, because I don't know the legal ramifications of this, promoting another fight for somebody that's under contract, but let's have a listen.
Well, one more thing. As I was walking out of the arena, Conor actually tapped me on the shoulder, and he told me to make sure that I tell everybody that he's fighting Jeremy Stephens in BKFC. That's what he said. I don't know if it's happening. I'm telling you, Conor just told me that he's fighting Jeremy Stephens in bare knuckle.
As you say, he did it very kind of.
Conor told me.
Yeah, Conor told me. Conor told me to announce.
I don't want to get screwed. I don't want to get screwed.
Not my words, but
go after him. Go after him.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think that fight's going to happen one little bit. But as I say, the side effects of that is that's getting promoted. You know what I mean? So, but it might cause there might be a couple of letters flying around at some point soon if he's not careful.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few text messages at some point today.
So well done to everyone that won there. Well done to Jeremy Stephens.
It was a bad night for Philly, by the way. In the
was it?
There was a few wins. There was a few wins for the Philly guys, but there was quite a few guys that got. It's that hometown curse, and sometimes you think it's good, but there's a lot of pressure, and sometimes it doesn't go great when you fight in your hometown.
Let me just tell you, just to allow me a second to blow my own horn. Never lost in the UK.
Yeah, you're a lucky one, man. That's good.
What a prank.
That's good. I never got to fight. I never got to fight for the UFC in Philly or in the area at all. I was always on the road. It sucked.
Yeah, no, but it did bring a lot of pressure. I was shitting my pants at the time.
Oh my God. And you're probably getting hit up nonstop too by every single person that you haven't talked to in 20 years.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. In fact, that happens more these days. People that they're like, very, very, I've met them once or twice, and maybe we follow each other on social media. Oh, can you get me some tickets for this UFC event that's happening near me? Oh yeah, let me get right on that right now. That's top of my priorities. Did you?